I am modelling a near modern era of East Coast mainline with GNER and ScotRail rolling stock, primarily going to be running on my layout. So I have decided to buy some of the low relief kits to start me off and give me some base buildings which I can then modernise and bring into the era that I would like to model. So today I purchased this low relief cinema, which is I plan to put in the centre of my town. So there'll be a bit of kit bashing going on. This will be in the centre of the town, as I say, and may not have the shops that are on the box when I come to actually create my final layout. I would like to keep as much of my own influences on the town that I'm creating and the station at Dundee Road. So let's have a look and see what's in the kit. I have already opened it just to make sure I've got everything. So yeah. With all Metcar car kits, you have very detailed instructions on how to use and how to build each step. You have your ridge tiles, which need to come with everything. More of the instructions. So as you can see, it gives you step by step on how to do each until you have the finished model. You have a glazing sheet. What I will do with this glazing sheet before I start is I will get a darker piece of paper, a coloured piece of paper, and I will actually copy this so that at a later stage I can create printable acetate for the windows. So as you can see, we've got several plain windows at the moment, which I could then layer things on, but what I may do is actually layer a sheet of printable acetate with more branding of what the retailers or the types of business that are running from the outlets. There is also a sheet of signs and window displays. These are kind of flat and kind of basic. So again, I will take a 100% copy of these and take them into a photo editing package, and then create and measure new signs which fit my era and fit the look that I want to have. Within the Metcar kits, there is a lot of strengthening material. In this one we have two separate sheets, which are the braces, the bases, which are pre-cut and just need to be scored out to release them. And then we come to the actual details. Again, they're all pre-cut, quite simple to see. You've got all your lines are all set out to cut, and then here we have our main board with all of our parts and our pavement. I will be using my own pavement in my layout, so that section probably won't get used, and it'll be blended in more to my final layout. What's good to note about the Metcar is that although they are laser cut cardboard, they try and give some depth to whatever you're modelling. So here we have inner windows, which allow the windows to sit back from the main face of the card, so it's not a complete flat kit. and it just makes it look really realistic. These are substantial buildings, and although they're not made of plastic, and you do have to be careful when you're spraying glues and other things on your layout, not to damage them. They're not. You don't need to treat them with kit gloves. They really will stand up to a lot of your own changes as well. You don't have to use the signs that are provided. You can just measure them on a computer and then cut your own signs. And that also means you can buy more than one of the same building, and then they'll look completely different, depending on what you do to them, to make them your own and make them part of your layout. Not all buildings, even in the Hornby range, look realistic. You have to do some kind of modification to them, whether it's weathering them up, whether you paint front doors. These kits are perfect for doing that with as well. Obviously you don't need to use as much paint, and you have to be careful how much you apply, but you can make these your own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this up, follow the instructions, and see what we end up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go away and I will read the instructions from start to finish and find out exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going. I can see already from the front I'm going to need a lot of the windows made up first. The windows are multiple layered, as I said. They've got the 3D look to them. So as I said, I will copy the glazing. I will put it on a dark background, and I will get a copy of the glazing first, at 100%. That means that when I come to a later point, and I want to change something, I will be able to get my copy and then create the window scene that I would like. A lot of modern companies use vinyls on their window, which allows colour and depth. So I want to be able to replicate that at a later date, and show my layout changing. My layout is going to be from a fairly modern era, and we live in a fast-paced society, so things will change over time. So I'm going to replicate that. So I've now taken some time to read the instructions, and I have also done, as I said, I copied the window sheets onto a dark background. This means that I now have the ability to recreate this once I have finished doing the main buildings. I may not want to change how the buildings look once I start to build it up. However, if I keep this to one side, I've got the option, if I ever buy another one of these kits, to make it look different, so I could just go with this one as is. I don't need to copy this again. I'll just keep this to one side, and then instead of having tobacconist, I may make another type of shop, or even a box office for the cinema, or something along those lines. There's a lot of advice in these books of the instructions that help you build the strong and reliable model from the cardboard. One of the main ones is keep everything tidy. These models, they're not difficult to build, but they do take some time. So as you can see, my area, I have everything perfectly laid out. The first part is to cut all of the parts from the card holders, but it does also mention that you need to keep the offcuts. The offcuts in these kits are often used for strengtheners and to give you additional places to glue things to and support. It does indicate what type of glue to use, the Yoo-hoo tubes. I will be using neat PVA, which I have in a little tub here, which I can put a lid on so that if I wanted to go away it's not going to dry out. And I have some matchsticks. The matchsticks just help me put the glue where I need it to be. And I've got plenty of those to the side. And then I have a tray where if a matchstick becomes damp and not usable, I can then put that in there. Because this is plastic, I can then peel the matchsticks off once the glue is completely dried, and I can then use them for other things, other parts of the model, such as curbstones, and creating barriers for when doing other bigger jobs on the layout where they're not going to be seen, but I'm not wasting them by using them as a spreader. The bottles that I get my PVA glue in does have a built-in spreader, but it's far too big to make a neat job of the delicate areas where you need to put your glue. But I always have plenty of glue spare so that when this tub is running low, I top it up, keep it wet, and then I can put a lid back on, and then keep it for next time when I come back. I tend not to build these kits in one sitting. I build some and then I will let that dry, go away, and then come back once it's dry and firm enough for me to do the next stage. That gives me the ability to then look at what I've done and think I could make that better, or I could make those changes, or I could indeed like the layout as it is, and just go with it. I have another kit which I have built for the layout, and I felt it wasn't quite right on its own. I needed a building in the centre to tie it together. I am hoping to have a town square, which I needed a folklore building, a town hall, or something of the nature of this cinema. So the cinema at the moment I am going to build as the kit intends. Although I have made my copy of my glazing, I will probably use the tobacconist as it is. But I will do what I can to make this my own. Probably once it's on the layout, I'll have my street lighting. I have these, they've got them masked up ready to be painted. They all were dotted about. These were from eBay, really cheap, from China. They're not brilliant, they've got a lot of sprue on them, but I have modified these. They had signboards on them and they had other delicate details on them which just didn't look right. So these will be on the layout, and I may change them to LED bulbs. But because of the era that my layout is, I do want the sort of incandescent glow that a street lamp would have had, either an orange colour or a slight shade of blue, but not quite the intensity that a LED would give. So I'm going to put these on as they are. They're fairly easily changed. The two wires go up the middle, and I will be running them a couple in series. So adding a resistor to a series will be much easier on the layout than adding a single resistor for each bulb as I'm building. So what I'll do is I will get all the pieces and cut them out as described in the instructions, and I'll start with part 1, and once I've got part 1 done I will show you in progress. So as you can see, I have now, as per the instructions, cut all the pieces out, and I have put all the extra card to one side so that any little bits that may be needed, like these, for support, are all next to me and close enough so I can just grab the right size piece. As you can see, once you get your model to this step, there is a lot of pieces. But the good thing with these Metcalfe is that you still have the instructions on a lot of the pieces that tell you exactly what they are. The first instruction is to create all the windows. So I have grouped together all of the window pieces that I can see. And what I'll do is I will follow the instructions and cut out and glue all the panes of plastic to represent the glass onto them, and I will be back. The other good thing about having the black dark sheet is it makes it much easier to tell what the instructions are. So as you can see on this sheet, it's very difficult to see what arrows are what and what you have to cut, but once you've got the black copy, it's much easier to see the instructions on cutting out the glazing. I don't cut out the glazing at the same time as I cut out the rest of the kit because of the number of parts, and it becomes very difficult to see what glazing part you have. The next step that I will do is I will cut this out and I will actually place it on top of the representing window pane. So the extra plastic that is around the windows I'll discard to the side, and on this